Hi guys, I have another Copic coloring and card tutorial for you today. We are going to use this little stamp set called You Are Pawsome by Simon & Stamp. I really think it's super cute. So it's going to be a smaller card and a quicker card. So I thought I'd actually do the coloring in real time this time. And to begin with, I'm going to stamp my stamps. I use Memento Tuxedo Black ink when I use stamps because it works very good with Copics. I'm gonna stamp our little kitty, and we are also going to stamp a little ball of yarn that is in this one. We're not gonna use all of it, but I'm gonna show you later what we're doing. So I'm gonna stamp that. We are going to stamp some more later, but these are the ones we're going to color with our Copics. We're going to start by coloring that little ball of yarn. We're going to color it with the Y20 markers. That was wrong marker. That's Y20 markers, the 23, the 26 and the 28, because it's a muted yellow. I start by coloring the ball with the Y23. Then I'm taking the darkest color, because this is so small, I'm just taking the darkest color and adding some dimension. Then I'm blending that out with the 26, who is the next to darkest. And for the ball, we don't have to worry about coloring out the lines, because we're going to cut it out. And that was our ball done. I said it was quick. Then we're going to color our kitty. I have chosen to use 4 colors for our little kitty here. He is going to be colored in W2, W4, W6 and W8. I'm going to put up the lids here so you can see which pens I'm using. I am going to start by coloring him in with the lightest marker, the W2. And I'm going to work in blocks of color because that makes the color stay wet, moist on the paper, and that will help with the blending. Then I'm going to go in with the darkest color, because this is a very little image. I can actually add the darkest first, but usually I try to go at least once from light to dark and then dark to light. But with small images I just fill it in with the lightest and then go in with my shadows. And I say that light is from the upper left, so the shadows comes on the bottom right. Then I'm going in with W6 to blend these out a little bit. And with these small images, as they are wet longer, the blending goes so much easier, so I don't have to add that much more color to start blending. Then I'm taking the W6 and add just a little bit more of the color. The legs and the tail is so small, so I almost doesn't get anything of the lightest color left. Then I add the lightest color at all the spots where I hadn't, and I'm blending that W4 out a little bit also. Then we're adding the lightest color again to the head, just quickly. Then I'm gonna add some shadow. Again, it ends up being on the bottom and on the right. Then I'm taking the W6 and I blend that a little bit and add a little bit extra of that shadow. Going in with W4, coloring up that too. And at the last thing, I'm going in with the lightest W2 to blend that out. And our little kitty almost done. Next step is his nose and his ears, and I'm using 2 different pinks, the R30 and R32, because they blend pretty well and they have so small pieces, so I don't need to have 3 colors. The R2 is just filling over that R30 on the nose, and then I just add small triangular shapes in the ears, which I blend out with the R30, so that you get a little bit of a dimension inside the ears. And with that Copic coloring out of the way, we are gonna cut him out. And I thought, just for funsies, we're gonna do this in real time too. When it comes to this little one, I'm actually cutting off the tail because I'm just gonna have the little ball of yarn. Could have not stamped the tail if I wanted to, but this was pretty easy. I can also say while I'm doing this that I have stamped this on Make It Crafty, Make It Colorful blending paper. It's a very good blending paper for markers if you want a new blending paper. You can also use Copic's Express It, Nina Solar White, and there's a whole bunch of other alcohol blending papers out there. If you ask different Copic colorists which paper they use, they probably will tell you another, even another one of those papers, because they have a lot of them. Now I cut a little bit more on this kitty than I planned, but hey, I thought he would have a little white border, but it seems that he's not getting a little white border. I even think I won't be cutting his... We are doing a little bit different now. We're just gonna cut him out, and I'm gonna show you what we're going to do. I have to change sometimes things. Now I'm cutting off his little whiskers, that was the word I was after, because we're gonna stamp him onto the project instead. We're still gonna use our colored kitty, but as I cut him out this way, I don't want to leave white paper where his little whiskers is, and he needs his whiskers. They're very hard to cut out when they're just lines. So we're mixing this up. Let's see if I can get this little tail cut. Sometimes it is a little bit more fiddly than you thought it would be. Ah, almost. It's almost there. Let's see. Like that, and he's all cut out. The next step is going to take a marker. I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black marker because it's the same color as the ink. Then I'm going from the behind of the images and just color it black. There's a reason why I place my pen on the back side of the paper, and that is because if I do it this way, I can easily just put a line across the cat and destroy all my coloring. If I do it this way, if my pen slips, I will get the lines on the back side and that won't show. The reason why I do this is because then you don't see that I didn't cut all the way on all places, and he looks a little bit more complete. So our coloring is done, and now we're gonna do the rest of the card. We're gonna use the My Mind's Eye Adventure paper pack. We're gonna use two papers from this. We're gonna use this yellow one with the sun, or what it can be, in the middle, and then we are going to use a blue one. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, it's the first in the paper pack. I'm going to find this because we're going to do the inside today. Yeah! So, we're starting here with our little cutting board. If you saw that, I actually already made this card once. We are going to cut this out. I have done all the measurements that I need for this, and basically we're gonna make it 4 inches high because I want my cat to be centered on that. So we're going to do it 4 inches high, and then I want it to be 3 3/8 wide. And I want this centered, so I'm going to need to cut off 1 5/16 on one each side. So that is 1 5/16. You want to see it so I don't have a scissor underneath. 1 5/16 on that side. And to make it easy for me, I just push it forward because this is going to be 3 3/8. I just go through 1 2 3/8 and cut there. And then I have that little ray of sun centered. Then I'm going to use this little piece, I hope. It's one, no. It's, let's see, I might be able to use this little piece. I am able to use this little piece. This is 1 1/4. I'm going to use that. We are going to mat these pieces also, so I'm going to use this chocolate cardstock. As this was 3 3/8, we're going to make it 3 4/8, which is 3 1/2. So I'm going to cut it at 3 1/2 to get the width. The height, as it was 4 inches, I'm going to do this at 4 1/8. And then we're going to do this at 1 3/8 to get a mat for that little sentiment list. I'm going to take the inside papers. We're going to cut this to 3 3/8. Then we're cutting at 4 1/8, 4 exactly. We again do another strip from our brown cardstock at 3 1/2 by 4 1/8. But we're also going to have a little border because we're going to use the background paper on this to make a border for this. So we're going to cut that down to 1 1/2, and then we're taking our mat and cut that to 1 5/8. And that is all our, almost all our paper cutting, because I almost forgot we are going to make a card base also. The card base will be 4 1/4 high, and then to make the base it's going to be 7 1/4 wide to make it match the other parts. And then we're going to score it, and the score going to be at 3 5/8. So let's see, this is 3, 1 2 3 4 5/8. And then we're just going to fold that over, and we have our little card base. I'm going to stamp a little and put this all together. So we are going to start with our cute little ball of yarn. Stamping it. Everything is stamped in Memento Tuxedo Black because then they will match really nicely. So I'm gonna put that little ball of yarn into this corner, and I want it to have sort of the same, putting it this corner because then I can put at the same angle as I colored that. Then we are going to stamp the cat just in the middle up here. And the important part with this cat is to get his whiskers. Like that. And to finish our stamping off, we're gonna stamp the "You Are Pawsome" onto our little sentiment strip. I'm gonna get the full coverage just in the middle. Then we have our little sentiment. Now we can start putting the card together. We begin by matting all of our pieces, and we do that with just an ordinary tape runner. So the inside of the card, which these are coming together like this. Yeah. I usually put the mats together first and then add them together, but sometimes you glue the wrong piece. So that's our little inside, and we're going to do the same with our outside. This is, I think it is running out, or just a little bit annoyed with me. Sometimes that happens. But I really like these glue pens because they usually work very good. Then we have our little porcelain paper here. Let's see. I think I actually broke this because I did a little bit too hard earlier today when I played with it. Yeah, this is why you have several. And of course I didn't need that one because we're gonna have glue tape on this, because I want it to be a little bit up on dimensions. So I'm gonna cut this down into 3 pieces because I don't need that much for this little card. This mount tape is very strong. It can take up to 2 lbs in weight because it is a mounting tape, so you don't need that much, but I want it to be equal. Then we just add that onto that top. Gonna add some of those that tape onto our little kitty, and then we mount the little kitty on top of the other kitty, so we have a little paper piecing. If you had wanted, you could have colored in the kitty with a darker marker, but I think that looks pretty good, and he got his whiskers back. Then we have a little ball of yarn somewhere. There he is, and as that's going to be the inside, we just add some tape to him. Yes. And then we just match him up with a ball of yarn on the image. So teeny tiny piece of paper piecing also. Then we're just gonna add tape to the inside of the card, or the inside piece, like that, and the same thing to the outside. And that is our card for today. I hope you liked it. And if you do, please thumbs it up, it means a lot to me. If you have any questions, just comment down below. All the materials of this card you can find in the description down below, but also on my blog where you find more images. Thank you, goodbye.